Bloop, 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 bloop. Hey, it's Amar, and I got another video for you. And this video is about skills that retail and working in a retail environment will give you if you're going into corporate and if you're going to a corporate environment or corporate leadership. I don't know about you, but I spent many, many years in retail waiting for the opportunity where I could be in a more corporate environment. Sometimes I don't even know why I wanted that. But ultimately, when we're working in retail, we could be a student, first of all, and you're always thinking about what the next thing is going to be. When am I going to get into my profession, my corporate field? For me, it was sales. For me, it was personally sales. And when I got into a retail sales environment, I liked certain aspects of it, but I couldn't wait until I was in a more corporate sales environment because anytime a corporate person came in with their slacks and their dress shirt, all looking nice and tidy, and I was in my Best Buy retail uniform, I felt like I wanted to be that person. I would ask so many questions when I saw someone who looked somewhat decent and somewhat professional coming into the retail store. And I would ask them so many questions about what they do and how they got there and whether they, worked in retail like me and what I can do to be in a corporate field. And again, I was at school or in school at the time. So that's why I wanted to aspire to do something much bigger than retail sales. I didn't want to be in retail sales. Although when I was really young, I had the opportunity to pursue that. I probably could have been a general manager of a big box retailer if I wanted to, because I have that personality and I have the skills with people. And that's one of the things that retail really, really brought me is some of these fundamentals. So in this video, I just want to focus on 3, maybe 4 things that to me are really critical skills that you can take with you from a retail to a corporate environment, and they're going to give you an edge over someone who just went to school and went straight to corporate. As usual, everything comes from a sales background, mostly for me, but this can apply to anything. Number 1 is you need to get a 20% discount. Number 1 is retail gave me the ability to talk to absolutely anybody. If you're working on a retail sales floor and imagine a 20-year-old me working or a 22-year-old me working at Best Buy, if somebody walks in front of you and they need help, you got to help them. At Best Buy, we had something called the 10-30 rule. If someone is within 10 feet of you, you got to respond to them within 30 seconds, or you have to proactively approach that person within 30 seconds to make sure that you are providing a great customer service. When your manager's watching you and hawking all over you, you better make sure that you're following that KPI. So that's something that taught me to approach anybody and talk to absolutely anybody. Number 2 is the ability to take those opportunities. And I think this is a really strong one because when someone comes up in front of you and they're a potential up, you want to get the deal. And I worked in a retail environment that was rewarded based on your skill, your merit, not necessarily heavy on the commission side. Obviously, it's a no pressure environment that everybody's familiar with, but our metrics mattered. So if I was going to work in a retail environment and not take opportunities, I would be crazy. So it really sharpened my ability to take a whole bunch of opportunities. And anytime somebody walked in front of me, if they looked like someone who was semi-interested, even if they didn't, I would always take the opportunity, and I would sort of sharpen that pencil. I would always develop the muscle to learn how to take opportunities immediately. And how does that help in corporate? Well, in corporate, let's say you're in a corporate sales environment or you're in a non-sales environment, you do have to identify the ability to take opportunities, either for your own growth or for you to show yourself as a leader or excel among the audience. Like you need to be above some of your colleagues. And really, a thought that I have all the time is, how do we compete with our colleagues? Colleagues are not meant to be competitors, but you are in fact competing with a lot of your colleagues for the attention, for the spotlight. I'll just move out of the way a little bit. Number 3, impromptu presentations. And this was the coolest part about working in retail sales is that, and this is maybe something that I would do, you always had to be able to demo your product. If I'm selling a camera or cameras at the store, I need to be able to demo my product and I need to be able to do it immediately. It's not when I set my meeting that people show up. In a retail environment, people show up whenever the hell they want. So if someone shows up in front of you and they're interested in seeing how a product works, whether it's a flat screen TV or flat screen, that's how old I am, flat panel TV, or whether it's a camera, you need to be able to deliver an impromptu presentation. Now, this was the icing on the cake because I ended up being really, really good at these. And I know that this is a skill that I developed in retail that I now carry in corporate, is that I will be able to present or talk about a certain area of my business or my function in front of anybody. And again, sometimes you're going to get the nerves with the more senior people. I get that. But if you build that muscle to develop impromptu presenting skills, you're going to use that in corporate and it's going to benefit you big time the way that it benefits me. But one of the bigger elements of it that I'll add to it is group presentations. Now, when you're presenting one-on-one, some people have a really easy time doing that. It's a lot easier to present to one person. For me, I actually developed a skill or a muscle that allows me to do group presentations potentially a lot better than a lot of people. I actually invite the audience. I invite the crowd. Imagine this. I'm doing a demo on a camera. I see over there a couple other people are looking at a very similar camera, but maybe they're 5 feet away. I would actually invite them over and say, hey guys, I see you're looking at that. If you want, you can join us because I'm demoing this camera right here. It's probably within your consideration set because they're very, very similar cameras. Why don't you come take a look? And then all of a sudden, I'm at Best Buy, 20 years old, and I'm doing group presentations in front of everybody. And it starts attracting other people. It starts actually attracting my colleagues and other people from other departments. Sometimes they want to see what we're presenting. So I think if you're able to build that attention, that's a skill that you can bring with you to corporate, because there's going to be a lot of circumstances where you might be required to lead a group presentation. Or again, if you're in a sales role or you aspire to be in a sales role, you're going to need to do these types of group presentations. And sometimes they're going to be impromptu. Even if they're planned, if you have a muscle developed where you can drop at a dime and you can basically do an impromptu presentation, you're going to take that skill. You're going to be able to do a planned presentation like it's nobody's business, especially in front of a lot of people. So retail gave me the opportunity to do that. So instead of focusing on what sucked in retail and my boss sucked and they were jerks and my colleagues sucked, I like to focus on the opportunities that retail and being in a retail environment actually brought me, because being in a retail environment brought me a ton of opportunities. This is just a small whiteboard example of it. Lastly, and to close it out, it really forced engagement. If you're in a retail environment, and this is where when you're working with your team, if you're in a retail environment, let's say you're the manager, you're the supervisor, you might have to get involved in every single deal. You are going to be there. You can't hide in your office. You can't be on another virtual call, and you can't be, busy on Teams or on Do Not Disturb. When you're in a retail environment, there is forced engagement, and this is a muscle. Heck, this whole thing could be about muscles that are developed in retail that can really, really help you in corporate. When you are forced to engage with your colleagues in a retail setting, let's say get involved in a deal, and you learn how to do that, you actually learn how to be collaborative. Man, I can't spell. You actually will learn how to be more collaborative than anybody. And to me, that's the name of the game. So again, 4 tips: talk to anyone, ability to take opportunities, impromptu presentations, forced engagement and collaboration. Well, I said tips. They're not really tips, but these are skills that you'll develop in a retail environment that'll take you to the next level if you want to be using these skills in corporate.